Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of In Between the Stitches. I am your host, Brady Wilson, as always, with my co-host, Chase Olspringer.
Good afternoon.
And Zach Babb probably will not be joining us this week. We're still kind of waiting. But if he does, you'll hear him. If he doesn't, hopefully see him next week. But ladies and gentlemen, I take a lot of pride in saying this. We're going to do it a little bit different this week because I don't know if you heard or not. We weren't, but the Texas Rangers have won the World Series. And we are World Series champions.
Unreal.
And nobody can ever take it away from us. It'll be it'll be in Globe Life Field and wherever we go. Hopefully we never move again, but we may. You never know. In 60 years, it will always be hanging wherever we're playing. And I think that is just the greatest thing ever for us Rangers fans. And I did want to make a note. I realize why so many Astros fans are so in denial about 2017. Because that was their first. I mean, imagine if in 3 years it comes out that all of this, we cheated. It would crush you.
Yeah.
It would literally, all of these awesome feelings would just be dead. And now you'd have to live with the fact that your team cheated to get its first World Series. And so I want to make a note to the Astros fans. I want to extend kind of an olive branch here. I understand why you can be in denial about it. And so, oh no, he wasn't that bad, or look for reasons to make it okay. Because you felt this way. This is the way you felt when you won. And then people try to come and take it away. So I see why they get so defensive about it. I didn't understand before. I understand now.
I agree.
That, okay, if someone tried to come in and take this from us, I would definitely want, to fight. It would, I understand. I understand it. But this isn't about the Astros, although, we could. That rivalry is going to be fun next year with us and them. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens.
100%.
But again, and I can't not say it and I have to smile every time I said that we are the World Series champions. And I know it's been a week. Obviously, part of me was glad that we finished it, but I was also like, dang, now we got to wait a whole week till we can talk about this. But I think it's still fresh in everyone else's mind. I saw a lot of Rangers fans that are like, the Cowboys can't hurt me anymore. No one, my team the Rangers finally won, and I think that. A lot of Rangers fans feel that way. A lot of Rangers fans feel that the demons got exorcised. Eric Nadel, the great Eric Nadel, put it the best when he said, it was may the ghost of 2011 forever be dead. Something along those lines. And I think he's right.
Yeah.
I no longer have this vehement hatred towards David Freese and the Cardinals. I still have that hurt from 2011. I still have the hurt that team didn't win one. Because I just wish that everyone, because there's, again, so many likable, like I've said before, so many likable players that just you wish could have gotten a ring with us. I mean, obviously, Napoli got one in 13 with the Red Sox, and Moreland and Kinsler got one in 18 with the Red Sox. And, Kinsler, Young, and Colby Lewis are all working with the team right now, so they'll all get a ring. So that's nice that Young and those guys get a ring. And Beltre got to hold the trophy,
right,
which was cool. But you just wish that they could have gotten to win that one. That would have just been, it would have solidified Beltre's legacy. It would have solidified a lot of legacies.
Right.
And unfortunately, it didn't happen. But I no longer have, I used to hate the Cardinals. And I have Cardinals fans asking me, why do you hate us? You beat us. Like that, it's why Colts fans hate the Patriots. They beat them. Of course you hate them, right? When you get beat by one team, it's why, you'll hear Chargers fans. They hate Patriots fans because they always beat them in the playoffs. But Patriots fans are like, I don't even know who. It's like Thanos. I don't even know who you are. And I think it's kind of like that with Cardinals fans. Cardinals fans don't understand that we hate them, and I don't think that's there anymore. No. At least for me, like every time it was Astros number one, then it was the Cardinals. It was not the Yankees, not the Giants. It was the Cardinals. Now, they're like any other team to me now. They're neutral. In fact, I actually like them now. Because they're one of the most historical teams in all of baseball. Probably next to the Yankees, Red Sox, and maybe the Dodgers. They're right up there, and they're one of the big legacy franchises that have won. I mean, the second most championships in the history of baseball, 11.
Yeah.
So it's one of those, like, I can enjoy the Cardinals now. Like, I can enjoy their history and not want to punch someone in the face. I can enjoy the St. Louis Cardinals and hope that they do good because all of that hurt is healed now.
Right.
And I don't want to punch David Freese in the face anymore.
It's still always going to have, be in the back of our minds and be like,
I'll never like him.
This team could really, really, really have 2 World Series rings, but it's okay.
It's okay.
We got one. We got one.
We got our one, and I think there's a lot of Rangers fans feel that way. Look, we have our one. Now, of course, everyone always told me and my dad, "Oh, we won is one." And they'd say, "Yeah, you say that, then you get one. You want, of course, yeah, I want another one."
Right.
But I have my one. I can in 20 years, I can be telling my kids, you know what, that team was just so we've sucked for the last 20 years. I don't care. That team was so special that I got to experience that. That was the greatest thing.
Do you think that this ring would have felt differently if we did pull it out in 2011? Still being in a 12-year stretch of not having any playoff success.
I think it would have meant more to the kids, the people my age,
Right.
That, or maybe you're a little
But myself too. It hurt me too. I remember watching. I remember exactly where I was. 2010 versus the Giants. I was at Game 5 when we lost.
See, I was in bed.
Right. I've experienced it, and it was heartbreaking, even when I was 9, 10 years old. But
Right.
Now this is like really. Even in 2011, I was at Game 6 in Miami when the Mavericks won the championship. Like, I've been to these historical events, but now it's like this is really one that I'm going to always remember. Like, I'm always going to remember being in Game 6 in Miami to watch the Mavericks win their first title. But this is one where, I'm 21, almost 22 years old now. I'm never going to forget this moment. And, who knows what would have happened back then, and how it would feel now if we pulled it out in 2011. But you know what? We don't got to look at it now that way anymore. We got ours. Great win, great run. And, I think we can run it back.
Yeah, and I want to make a note, again, like you were saying, it makes the hurt go away. I don't have that pain anymore. I don't have that burning pain of my mom asked me, because I can't speak for everyone else as Rangers fans. I cried my eyes out. Me and my dad, I was able to experience it with him. I didn't know if I was going to cry, and I was very happy that we won, and I didn't know. And of course, the second he started crying, I started crying, and so we bawled for like probably a good half hour. And I think and my mom was just like, "Why are you crying so much?" I'm like, "Just because finally, I have grown up a Rangers fan. Ever since I was in elementary school, everyone knew how much I love baseball because I knew more than everyone in the school, including the teacher.
Right.
Even in elementary school, and that went through junior high and through high school. Even in high school, all the baseball players, they talked to me about baseball because I think they knew I knew more about the history of it than they did. They know more about the day-to-day, playing it, fundamentals probably, but I knew more about the history of it and the ins and outs of Major League Baseball.
Right.
And having like, so many teachers, all the Rangers. I can remember in 8th grade, I remember my history teacher, all the Rangers are the worst team in the league. And at that time, we weren't very good. That was right after the 16 team, right? So we were very meh. And I just remember going, "We're not the worst team. It's this team." And he's like, "Nope, they're the worst team." And I remember that I remember thinking about that, just thinking, we're not the worst team. Tonight, and from now until the day pitchers and catchers report, we're the best team in the league. And then the day pitchers and catchers report, the new season starts, we're the defending world champions. It switches. Now, right now, we can celebrate being the world champs.
Right.
Then the second pitchers and catchers report and spring training starts, you're the defending world champs.
Yep.
And so to have that, to be the best team in the league, and wondering would I ever experience that. A couple years ago, it was the 10-year anniversary of 2011, and I want to make a public apology to my dad for this again. I forced him to rewatch Game 6, 2011, and the reason, I think I've told the story, and I may if I haven't. If I did, I don't care. And I forced him to rewatch it. And the reason was, again, I had never experienced it. I didn't watch it. I was asleep, so I wanted to rewatch it with him, and he kind of did just to it was almost kind of like I wanna, because he'd only seen the game once and had never seen it again. So he kind of was like, I want to make sure my opinions of that game are not wrong, like about Nelson Cruz and everything. And so we rewatched it, and after that game, we both just sat there, and we just said, "Are we ever going to win one?" Because that was in the midst of the 100-loss season. We were awful, and then now 2 years later, we're the champs.
Right.
It's just a very surreal feeling.
Did you have a bet with your dad about the Rangers?
Yes. So
you lost that bet, didn't you?
It wasn't for anything, but it was. I remember. Oh, it was when I was a kid. It was probably sometime when I think it was after 2016, for the Cowboys. I made a bet with him. I said I think he always would say the Rangers will win one before the Cowboys will win another one, and I thought differently. I thought the Cowboys would. So I made a bet with him the Cowboys would win one before the Rangers. And what's funny is, as this DFW sports fan growing up in the era that I have, I never thought any of them would win one. The only one that has is the Mavs, and I don't really remember that too much. So I remember telling him, "You realize that we're never gonna." I remember telling him one time, "You realize none of us are ever gonna be right about this. Where it's probably never gonna happen." Just being that sure that none of my teams are gonna, neither of the teams are gonna win one. So to finally have it happen is just an awesome feeling.
Technically, that bet's still on, though, because the Rangers were still playing as the Cowboys season started. So if the Cowboys win this season,
Yes.
technically they won it at the same time.
And on that note, the DFW sports landscape has a chance to do something that's never been done before. All 4 sports championship in the same season. Because it wouldn't be in the same year it'd be in the same season.
Right.
Right? It'd be the 2023-24 seasons for football, basketball, and hockey. But and we'll talk about the other teams after this, but there's a chance. The one team, if you had said who would have the most difficult time winning one right now,
Mavs.
I would have said it was the Rangers.
Right now, after the Rangers won, I would say it's the Mavs.
Because was the Rangers, and no, we never won one.
I don't know. I'm saying the Mavs. When the Cowboys exist, it's tough to say.
It's the pedigree. I'm not going off of almost talent of the team. Remember the Cowboys. I've seen the championships. I've seen the championships, at least on YouTube. Seen the championships from the Stars. Seen it from the Mavs. Never happened for the Rangers. So it was one of those. It can't happen for us. It can happen for the other teams because it's happened before, but it can't happen for the Rangers. What do you mean? We're the Rangers. We can't win anything. And I think that finally we're getting some respect around Major League Baseball. Everyone's like, hey, the Rangers are actually a good team. And for all the people that are saying we bought this, look, I could probably go on a 45-minute breakdown about how we acquired each player, and I'm not going to do that. But I've broken it down a couple times before about how we acquired it. This was not bought. This was how, when Marvin Miller, who was the president, who was the players' union guy, in the 70s, when he was telling the owners what free agency was designed for, because the owners thought free agency was, wild, wild west, and we lose everything, and the players get everything. And Marvin Miller was like, no, free agency is designed so when at the end of the season, you feel you have a really good team, that you can fill the holes on that team with a couple players from free agency. That you go from a good team to now a pennant contender, a true contender that can win the World Series. That's the design of free agency, and the Rangers used it to perfection.
Yeah.
Look, we have young players coming up. We've got Evan Carter is going to be coming up. Josh Young, Garcia, and Lowe, and Heim, and Taveras are all developing in the major leagues. I went back and watched some of those 2021 highlights, and a lot of the highlights, there's Garcia, there's Lowe, there's Heim, there's Taveras. You can see the nucleus beginning to build just a couple years ago. And so you build it from within, make some shrewd trades and some shrewd acquisitions like Garcia and Lowe and Heim, and you draft and signed international free agents well, and Taveras and Young and Carter, and Jose Leclerc, and Josh Spores was a DFA pickup, and Chapman was a good deadline pickup, and then you supplement those guys with big name free agents.
Right. And you go out and spend $500 million on Corey Seager and Marcus Semien.
John Gray,
right.
Nathan Eovaldi, Andrew Heaney, Jacob deGrom. Then you ought to make big time trades. I know I mentioned Chapman, but big time trades when you realize you have a team that could win. Because Chris Young, there was an article I read, and he was asking his wife, like, am I doing the right thing by trading for all these players? Because, if we don't win, then I could just screw this up for the future. But he was aggressive, and he believed in his aggressiveness, and we won the World Series. And so I do not care what Cole Reagans or Luis Angel Acuna, Thomas Saggese, or Takeo Rowe become. They could become 4 Hall of Fame players, greatest of all time. I do not care.
Yeah.
We won a ring. And because of how we got to the playoffs, was a game and a half up on Seattle, this close to not being in the playoffs.
Literally one game away from making this in the playoffs.
You needed everybody.
Yeah.
You needed everybody. That is what's important here, is that you needed every single player that did anything for you. Whether it was Ian Kennedy, who was not very good for you, but you still, I still believe in the philosophy. You still needed everybody, the bad players and the good players. You needed every single person to help you win the championship, and you got it. And that's what matters for Rangers fans. And we'll probably be announcing the Rangers as the World Series champions. That's gonna be the new opening of the show, Chase. I'm gonna start opening it with, and the Raiders are World Series champions. I just want to remind everybody, in case you forgot, because it's that exciting. It's finally my team is a winner,
right?
And finally we can celebrate a championship team. And that parade was awesome.
It was awesome. Yeah.
I was like front. I mean, it was really cool to be there with 700,000 Rangers fans.
Yeah.
And again, I mentioned this, I think, on last week's show, but I'm going to mention it again. Cowboys fans, Mavs fans, and Stars fans, the generations have problems meshing sometimes because, like, I'm going to use my dad as my example. okay, because he's old. Ha ha ha. He's been alive for all 5 of the Cowboys championships and has memory of 4. And obviously was watching the Stars win the Stanley Cup, and watched the Mavs win in 2011. So he can't relate to how I feel because I didn't see 20. I don't remember. I remember the celebration in 2011, but I don't remember the Cowboys. I wasn't alive. I wasn't alive for the Stars. So he's seen that. I haven't. So there's a disconnect there, right? It's hard to bond because my life of the Stars has been close. Same thing with the Cowboys. But with the Rangers, every single person, whether you're 80 or you're 8, can relate to the feeling of we won. No one has ever seen this. I mean, that again, no matter how old or young you are, you've never seen this. And I think that's what bonded a lot of Rangers fans was that finally we can all unite and say we've all seen this. Every generation has now seen a Rangers championship. Yep. And I think it was really fun to watch.
Yeah,
it was awesome. And Evaldi, and we could break down that game. Evaldi was dealing, he was getting himself in trouble.
Listen, we said this before the show. He had a 1 million whip.
He did his job.
But that 0 ERA.
And
that's all that matters.
Same thing with Chapman. Chapman came in there, No, Chapman came in and came.
Yeah, Chapman came in to start.
It was such a blur.
He came in for the 7th.
That's right. He came in an inning early.
And he did his job.
He got the guys out, and then Spores came in and was just dominating.
He played 2 innings for Spores, and
Spores can never pitch another inning, and he'll have a statue out in front of Globe Life. And we were talking about this before the show too. Like it looks like Garver might leave.
Yeah,
Garver's the one that I'm focusing in on.
Clearing up that DH spot for Ohtani.
Garver, we'll talk about that in a second. Garver can go anywhere, and that includes Houston. I think as long as he doesn't badmouth the Rangers, which I don't think any of these guys would, I think they're all too close.
Yeah,
we're going to cheer for him.
Yeah,
he could be playing for the Astros next year, and when he comes up to bat, I'm going to cheer for him.
Mm-hmm.
I do. Every single player on this team has a history in Rangers fans' minds. And it kind of sucks. We already lost one. Ian Kennedy already retired.
Yeah.
I know, again, not a notable player.
Right,
again,
still,
but still, it's kind of like, man, there goes. We already had the first one from the team that's retiring. Then there's going to be more, and that's going to be sad. I think with the last one, and it's going to be a while because Evan Carter is so young and is going to be so good for so long that I think you're okay. You don't have to worry about But I think when that last one retires, in my prediction, it will be Evan Carter. It's going to be pretty sad. That. This guy was on the team, and and now that time is truly it was the same feeling I got when Beltre and Andrews, especially when Andrews got traded.
Yeah,
it was like that's the last one from those teams. That's it. Now there's still he's still playing.
He's in Chicago. I mean,
and I think there was everyone else. I think is gone because Cruz retired. So Tommy Hunter was from the 10 team, not the 11. He was on the 11, but he was on the World Series team. We traded him for Koji Ohara. It's kind of sad to remember, like, man, there's not many left. And it's the same thing now with this team. It's like eventually there's not going to be many left. But I'm not thinking about that. I'm thinking they're all here.
Right.
And we can watch this team. And next year we could run it back. I mean, the team is going to be, the lineup is going to be mostly the same. You could improve in the DH spot.
Right.
Justin Foskey and Wyatt Langford, they're coming. Sorry for the stutter there, but they're coming.
Yeah.
I mean, those two guys can hit. Foskey's blocked, and he's not that much of a defender. So he's probably going to be, I've heard rumors that he's your opening day DH if you don't make a signing, if you don't sign anybody. And then there's the big one. There's been a couple rumors, and we're going to kind of transition to the offseason now for baseball. Again, the Rangers are World
Series champions.
And I will remind every Astros fan, because now we have 2, sort of, but we have 1 now. You can't use us, then we're ringless.
We will have a gold pennant in Globe Life Field.
Yes, we will. You can have that AL West. You can have it. You can have that AL West championship.
We'll take the league and we'll take the World Series.
We'll take the American League and the World Series. Thank you very much. And then of course I have to mention Corey Seager, just at the parade. People were wondering what would happen if the Rangers didn't win the World Series, and then just he almost seemed perturbed to say it, but it was just, I guess we'll never know. Yeah. So great. And people forget that he was on that 17 Dodgers team. So he already has that kind of hatred of the Astros from that.
Right.
Anyway, the Rangers are linked to 2 big free agents. And I think it's been, and look, it's fun to get excited. It really is. Just to think that next year Josh Hader and Shohei Ohtani could be on the Rangers. And it's Ohtani reminds me of DeGrom. Oh, I want him. I want him so badly on my baseball team. But is it realistic? Would he want to come here? Because I remember when going into last offseason thinking, I want DeGrom. Oh my, it would be so much fun to have DeGrom on my team. It'd be like an MLB The Show type thing, right? But just thinking, he's not going to come here. I thought he was going to the Braves. He wants to be closer to home. He's not coming to the Rangers. No one ever comes. I know Seager and Simeon came here, but I still was in that mindset of nobody wants to come to the Rangers. Now it's everybody wants to come to the Rangers. Come on, let's go win a championship. Adding Ohtani would be, I don't care. I mean, in Chris Young we trust, and everyone's like, well, you gave him too much money. Remember, baseball is you spend as much as your owner wants to spend, and clearly he's shown to go. We went over the luxury tax this year. I didn't realize we did, but apparently we did, and so clearly Ray Davis has shown an ability to go over the luxury tax, and he would do it again.
Yeah,
I mean, you got to think if he wins a championship every year, I'd pay that fine. Sure, here's money that I have to burn. I'll win a championship, and I think it's worth it.
Yeah.
And I think that we did the approach that I think, and you're seeing other teams start to think about this, make those. It's why I think the trade market's heating up so much. Well, how the Rangers, every team, how this team build this team? Every year, baseball changes because everyone looks at how the World Series champion built their team, and how can we mimic that? And it's why it's my theory as to why a trade market is so hot right now. At least that's from all the reports that I'm getting. Is that trade market's the biggest part right now? It's free agency's kind of trade market's where it's at. Because everyone look at the Rangers. Well, look, they traded for Lowe. They traded for Heim. They traded for Garcia. Technically, they traded for. I mean,
cash.
Yeah, they traded for Dane Dunning. Yeah. They made a lot of shrewd moves, and was able to build this team. So I think everyone else is looking at how can we make those kind of deals that are under the radar. Nathaniel Lowe was a platoon player in Tampa Bay. Garcia was a forgotten prospect. Heim was an intriguing switch-hitting catching prospect, right? So you had the intrigue for those guys, but we were willing to take a chance on them, and I think we're all very happy that we did.
I think so.
And so again, now moving into the offseason fully here, I want bullpen help for the Rangers. The biggest guy I'm in on is Hector Neris. I think it'd be fun to bring in an Astro. Him, Maton, or Stanek. Bring them all three in. I don't care. Do what the Cowboys did with the safeties. Remember a couple years ago, they brought in DeMonte Casey and J-Ron Curse and Malik Hooker. They brought in like 4 safeties.
Oh, yeah.
And they were like, 2 of them are stuck now. So I like that idea of bringing in a lot of guys and just seeing if we can get a couple of them to stick. Because again, relief pitching is very weird. And I want Rangers fans to get
Keanu Neal as well, by the way.
What?
Keanu Neal as well, by the way.
Yeah. That was the other one. Keanu Neal. That was the other one.
It's like all Falcons.
Yeah. We built this. Dan Quinn's built his old defense. Relief pitching is very volatile. I've said this thing every show, and I'll continue to say it. It is very weird. This bullpen could come back next year and shove. It's. Yeah. I remember a couple years ago when Edwin Diaz was like, they were talks about him getting cut, him getting DFA'd. He was that bad for the Mets, and something clicked. It happens. Sometimes things just click for guys for a couple years, and sometimes that's why the sustained closers deserve to be in the Hall of Fame.
I don't think taking that chance is worth it. I think you have to bring in someone.
I'm not saying you shouldn't bring anybody. I'm just saying that if I think people are expecting us to sign the top 4 relief pitchers and just completely buy a new bullpen,
yeah,
you're not going to. I'd like to bring back Chapman. Let's say you bring back Chapman, and you may want to bring back Will Smith. I mean, come on, he's 3 World Series championships. He's clearly the good luck charm. I saw a joke on a Yankees fan page that was like, we need to give Will Smith like $20 million a year just to come to our team because clearly that's the secret.
Remember Will Smith won in 2022.
I wouldn't mind bringing Will Smith in simply because he's a good against lefties. He's a good. I like how Bochy used him in the playoffs, which is, hey, I've got 2 lefties coming up here to finish the inning. You get these 2 guys out. That way you don't have to face all 3 batters.
Yeah.
It would be. If we brought him back, I wouldn't hate it. I wouldn't be because he wouldn't be the closer anymore. He's lost that role.
Yeah.
But let's say you brought back Chapman, right? So you'd have Leclerc, you'd have Chapman, you'd have Spores, Burke, Hernandez looked really good towards the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
So there's already the makings of a bullpen right there. And then obviously, let's say you bring back Montgomery. Well, at some point in the year, Heaney's probably going to go back to the bullpen because if you bring back Montgomery, Evaldi, Scherzer, Montgomery, Gray, Dunning.
DeGrom come back second half of the year.
That means Heaney already opening day has got to go to the bullpen.
Yeah.
Him or Dunning. So it's the thing is you're not going to sign 5 new top relief pitchers to remake your whole bullpen. What you're probably going to do is sign, I'd expect, maybe 2 notable guys and maybe 2 more kind of Will Smith type guys, not the superstars. I think if you sign Hader, then maybe 1 more or 2 more, and then that's really going to be it. I mean, Hader's going to cost a lot of money for a closer. And I know people, look, if you want Josh Hader, I'm just warning you, if you don't like Aroldis Chapman, get ready. Because Josh Hader's a little bit of this is kind of the same. When he's on, he's practically unhittable. When he's off and he's missing, he's very hittable. He's not he's hittable, he's wild. And thankfully he limits his wildness, but, not as much as you'd probably like.
I mean, he people forget, more than halfway through the season, through like 25 total saves, he was under a 1 ERA and under a 1 WHIP. Like,
he's dominating.
He was dominant.
He's just wild.
Right.
It's the only problem with Hader. He's wild. And I don't like that it sounds like he quit on his team last year. But I'm also willing to concede that, okay, the Padres right now are just kind of like a cesspool of dysfunction and problems and power struggles. And I mean, Bob, if you can't win with Bob Melvin's your manager, something's going on down there.
Yeah.
And so I'm very curious as to think, did Hader quit not because he's a bad person or he's a quitter or this, but because he knew that he was on a sinking ship and was just trying to survive to get on a new ship?
Yeah.
So I'm willing to, it's kind of like with Chapman, I'm willing to concede that maybe it wasn't him having personality issues and just him trying to get out of San Diego. And he's trying to get out of there with his arm intact. Which that makes sense. I understand that. But if it was what it sounds like almost, what I think the Padres are trying to paint it as, is that he quit on the team, then I got a huge problem with that.
Yeah.
But I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt almost, that it was dysfunction and they were asking him to basically save the ship and he knew he couldn't and he didn't want to risk an injury. I understand that. I get that. So
we'll see.
We'll see. And then the Rangers obviously Ohtani. And I think right now, though, bring back Montgomery would be the biggest thing. And even if you don't bring back Montgomery, it's not the end of the world. You just would like to.
Do you think if we were to bring in Ohtani, right, and give him whatever, $450 million, whatever, who's coming back? Can we afford to bring people back?
Yeah, you can afford it. Remember, I mean, Ray Davis has clearly said he's going to open up the checkbook. So, I mean, and remember, this year, you have $20 million coming off the books in just Martin Perez alone.
Right.
So there's $20 million that's free right there that you can give to anybody. And you got some money coming off the books. And like next year, we have not a lot of money on the books because Heaney would be his money is coming off. Evaldi's money is coming off. Scherzer's like 20-something million that we're paying him is coming off. So you're going to have a lot of money down the road. I think Ray Davis would be willing to go one more year over the luxury tax and then be okay the next few years. Right? So, but we'll see. In Chris Young, I trust. I think in Chris Young, we both trust.
Of course.
And whatever he decides to do, he has earned my complete 100% blind faith at this point. So, and now to move to some other stuff in baseball news. Here we go. The MLB, we have some manager stuff going on. Obviously, Bob Melvin go to the Giants, going the Bruce Bochy route, going from San Diego to the Giants without being fired. And then you got the big one that dropped on Monday. Craig Counsell decided to lead the Brewers, but not to the Mets, because the Mets hired Carlos Mendoza, who was the bench coach for Aaron Boone, who's just kind of Aaron Boone light. He did not go to anywhere else. I think the other one was the Angels. He was rumored to. He was rumored to a couple teams. None of those teams. He went to the Cubs, who fired David Ross, which surprised the heck out of me. Counsell got top.
And he gave Counsell a lot of money.
And I think, and I like what Joel Sherman was saying on MLB Network and saying, these guys, people want to get mad at the GMs, but everyone talks about the manager. The managers deserve to get paid a lot of money because they're the ones who have to deal with all of the front office may be dictating it, but guess who has to answer the questions to the media? The manager, not the GM. The GM barely does anything on media. It's the manager.
Right.
Stephen Vogt got hired by the Guardians.
Great hiring.
I knew he was going to be a manager. The second he retired, he said he was going to go into coaching, and he did. He was the manager's bullpen coach, I think, like quality.
Yeah.
The quality control role, and now he's the manager.
I think it was a great hiring.
I think it was too.
Yeah.
I think there could be some growing pains with him as a manager. I think you have to give him a year or two to get used to the job, and then maybe I'm wrong. We'll see. We mentioned Mendoza, so that's all the guys that have been hired. then you get some openings. All right. The Angels did interview Ron Washington, which that would be really cool to have him return to Arlington as a manager, and we could give him a standing ovation now. I think that would be really cool to have him return. I still wouldn't boo him anything. He was a great manager for us. Obviously, Buck Showalter has been a huge rumor for them. Ray Montgomery, Benji Gill, who's their bench coach. Who's their infield coach. It's the article is messing up here to see where I have who everyone is. Benji Gill, he's been with them for a few years now. I think he was a base coach at one point, and now he's infield coach. So he's moved up with that team. He knows that. He knows the Angels team. Bench coach Ray Montgomery that's their internal candidates that they're thinking about. Some of the external candidates would be Dodgers third base coach Dino Ebel, who is there. So they could go the Chris Woodward route, go with the Dodgers third base coach. Hopefully, it works out the same for them as it did for us. Sorry, no offense to Chris Woodward. Braves third base coach Ron Washington, and then Gary DeSarcina, who has been the Nationals third base coach. And then this would be the most Artie Moreno thing ever if they decided to hire someone that was a former player. I don't know these guys are coaching anywhere, but Torrey Hunter, Darren Erstad, and Tim Salmon are all rumored. Like, that would just be the stupidest thing ever. I hope they do it.
I do too.
I hope they do it. The Astros, they have an opening as well. Joe Espada and, of course, Alex Centrone are kind of their big internal candidates. I think it's going to be one of those two guys, personally. I think it would be a big mistake if they went with somebody else. Obviously, Ron Washington was rumored for that job, potentially. I'm trying to think. Omar Lopez, who's their third base coach. He's managed in the club, in their minor league system, so that's a candidate. Braves... some other candidates are Braves coaches Walt Weiss and Eric Young. They've both worked with Dana Brown when he was with Atlanta, their GM, so those are some options for you. And then the Brewers, they're definitely looking at, I think they should go with a former manager. And I don't think a first-time manager would be good for them.
So
I think they want to try. I think Kapler or Don Mattingly, or if they really want to give a big middle finger to the Cubs and hire David Ross, I think it'd be the funniest thing ever. I think it'd be awesome as a baseball fan that's not in that rivalry to just sit back and watch. And then the Padres also rumored to be in on Benji Gill. And then I think they're going to go with Mike Schilt, who was the good manager for the Cardinals, and they fired him. That was the weird kind of like, why are you firing Mike Schilt? He's done a good job, but I think it was philosophical differences between the managers. So it's like, so the GM's a nerdy Moneyball guy, and Mike Schilt's a little more the old school.
Right.
So.
Yeah. And
I want to give my 2 cents on managing, and I want to point something out. The last 5 World Series champions have all been and I know Dave Roberts is an analytics nerd, but he's also the former player. He's a little more old school than some of the guys like Kevin Cash. I think Dave Roberts has leaned more into analytics more and more over the years, and it's been a problem. But you look at, 4 of the last 5 World Series champions. Dave Martinez in 19. 2021, it was Brian Snitker. Last year, Dusty Baker. This year, Bruce Bochy. They're 4 old school managers. 4 of the, traditional, you GM, you give me the players, and I, the manager, manage the players on a day-to-day basis. And they've won 4 of the last World Series. 4 or 5. 4 of the 5. So, clearly...
There's a trend.
There's a trend here. And if you want to go back, Alex Cora won in 18, Hinch in 17. 16, Joe Madden. In 15, it was Ned Yost, who for the Royals, and then Bochy. Look,
yeah,
and then I'm blanking on the
Bochy a few more times going down the line.
I'm blanking on the 13 Red Sox's name, and I just heard it a couple days ago, but I'm forgetting again because it was John something, I believe. Obviously, 2012. Hey, look, Bochy again. 2011, Tony La Russa. Hey, look, Bochy again. You can keep going back, and guess what? You're going to continue to find the old school traditional managers. There's a trend that those teams win the World Series. The Moneyball nerds, and look, I'm a nerd. I like the statistics, but I also believe in the GM to be an analytical nerd who then hires a traditional manager that he trusts. Chris Young is an analytical nerd. He's a nerd. He's Princeton's super intelligent guy. He hires Bochy. Not that Bochy's not intelligent, but he hires the traditional guy that can manage the team on the day-to-day basis.
And lets him do his job.
Yeah. And they have meetings. I'm sure Chris Young, they have their pregame meetings. Hey, look, I'd like to see this, and we have this as a matchup, and we have this. But that's all that is.
Right.
So,
He's essentially just saying, "Listen, I'm here,
yeah, I'm
but
here.
Boch, go out there and do your job."
Once that first pitch is thrown, it's all from Bruce Bochy.
Yeah.
It's all in his brain.
Yeah.
And Mike Maddox and all those
Of course.
Tim Myers.
Of course.
We have the MVP finalists. I'm sorry, the award finalists. MVP is Otani, Seager, Simeon. Probably gonna be Otani.
I mean,
NL MVP, Acuna,
Acuna.
Betts, Freeman. Probably Acuna. AL Cy Young, Cole, Gosman, Gray. Probably gonna be Cole. NL Cy Young probably gonna be Snell.
Mhm.
But I could see an argument for Gallen. But the other one's Sonny, and the other one is Logan Webb, who's it's cool. You were finalist, but no.
not one of
Yeah. AL Rookie of the Year. I don't want to talk about it. Should be Josh Young, but
It's gonna be Gunnar Henderson.
it's going to be Gunnar Henderson because they
Yeah.
they love the Orioles. And Rookie of the Year is going to be Corbin Carroll, 100%. And for all the people that are saying Ellie De La Cruz, no, he did not have a good year.
Yeah.
He had a Linsanity run.
He showed that he has all of the traits to be a superstar,
Yes,
and there,
just needs to be more consistent.
yeah.
With
I mean, that plate discipline needs to,
that. Mhm.
and I think he's the future for them for sure,
Yeah, he is.
and he's awesome.
AL Manager of the Year, Bochy, Cash, Hyde. It should be Bruce Bochy, but it's going to probably be Baron Hyde. That's my opinion. NL Manager of the Year, it's probably
All I see is a total of 5-0 versus two other managers.
Yeah, I
or
know,
two other
that's what I see.
managers.
NL Manager of the Year, I could see it probably being any one of these guys. I would pick Schumacher because that Marlins team was not very
I mean,
good.
it
and
could
they
be anyone.
won
I mean, Snicker having that Braves
the
team.
best team, and then
Mhm.
Council. I think it'd be really funny if Council won it and his just dipped. I think it'd be really funny.
I think that's the hardest one out of all the awards. I feel like all
Yeah.
the awards for at least when it comes to players is kind of one-sided.
Yeah, that's the one where you got to think about it. Then you had the Gold Glove award winners announced in the National. We'll start the National League here. Wheeler, Zach Wheeler won it for the pitcher. Gabriel Moreno, Christian Walker, Nico Horner, Ke'Bryan Hayes, Dansby Swanson, Ian Happ, Brenton Doyle, which was kind of a surprise for me. Fernando Tatis, and then Hassan Kim won the utility. So I think you see a couple Chicago guys, couple Arizona guys, a couple San Diego guys. You have a trend here.
Mm-hmm.
In the American League, you got a little bit of another trend. Barrios won it for the pitcher. Our man Jonah Heim won it in catcher. He's probably the best catcher in the American League, arguably the best catcher in the league itself. I mean, the guy can hit and he can play defense. Nathaniel Lowe, I'm happy for him. He deserved it.
Deserved.
He took a little bit of a hit on his hitting this year, but I think it's one of those. Year 1, you win the Silver Slugger. Year 2, you win the Gold Glove. Year 3, you win both.
Yeah.
He is the finalist for the Silver Slugger. He's probably not going to win it, but it'd be funny if he did. Andres Jimenez won at second base. Chapman won at third base. Volpe won at shortstop. No.
No, Jimenez was worthy, but I think
Look,
I think Simeon should have won that.
Chapman should have won it at third base. Volpe was better than Seager, and Jimenez was debatable. So we can debate the other two. No, Chapman and Volpe were better. I would love to use the playoff as an excuse and say, well, look, they're what Young and Seager did in the playoffs because they had some of the best defensive plays in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But you just can't. I have to be unbiased whenever we do this, and unfortunately, that's what it does.
I'm not saying they're not worthy. I just think
No, yeah, I know you're not. Yeah. Stephen Kwan won at left field. Kiermaier won it in center field. And, of course, Adolis Garcia. The Rangers were not done. Right field, well-deserved. One of the best arms in the game.
Yeah.
And can run and go get, he can go get the baseball. And he can rob home runs. He can do a little bit of everything. And then Mauricio Dubon, that was the right pick, a utility for them. So that's your Gold Glovers. The Silver Slugger finalists were announced. Now, I don't have the numbers in front of me. So I'm going to kind of eyeball this a little bit. First base, this is American League. Casas, Diaz, Lowe. Torkelson's probably going to be Yandy Diaz.
Diaz.
Second base, it should be Simeon, but I mean, it should be. Third base, I thought Josh Young, his injury kept him from this. It'll probably.
It's gonna be. Honestly,
I'm gonna pick Devers just because it's Rafi.
I think it's gonna be Isaac Paredes.
It could be.
I think there's a lot of guys here. I mean, screw Bregman right now. I think JRM has a good shot of it too.
Yeah.
I don't think. I'm putting away the Astros hate for this. I just really think that Bregman doesn't really have a chance versus the other guys.
Right.
I think it's gonna be Paredes though. I think he's a sleeper pick for this, but I think he deserves it.
Okay. Shortstop, if it is not Corey Seager, We're gonna fight.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have a fight with the writers people. Outfield: Arozarena, Garcia, Judge, Robert, Julio, Santander, and Tucker. All right, Arozarena, Garcia, and probably I'm gonna go Julio, but Arozarena and Garcia have to be, I think, 2 of the 3. Anyone else, I think, and then the third one, I don't care.
Why not Kyle Tucker?
Sure.
I mean, over Arozarena. Why does Arozarena have to be why is he an automatic pick?
Because if I remember his numbers correctly, he had a really amazing season.
He did, but I don't think the average was there. I don't think the home runs were down a little. I think Kyle Tucker had just a better year.
Well, the problem with Tucker, yeah, okay, all right, I'm gonna go Tucker, Arozarena, Garcia. That'll be my 3.
I'm going Tucker, J-Rod, and Garcia.
Okay. Astros fan.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I'm
No,
joking.
listen, I will always. It sucks that guys like I have to say this because I bring it up with my friends all the time. It sucks like guys like Kyle Tucker and Yordan Alvarez are on the Astros.
Yeah, it does.
Because I love them. I love watching them play. They are fantastic players, but I can't like them because they're on the Astros.
And I tell you what about the catcher is Salvador Perez, Cal Raleigh, and Rutschman. Now let's look at these. Rutschman, deserving. 20 bombs, 277.
Yeah.
No problem with that. Cal Raleigh, 30 bombs, 232. He's a complete slugger. I'm okay with it because it's the 30 bombs. 30 bombs from the catchers, a little bit. Well, you think 30 home runs? Well, that's high, but it's a catcher. You don't get that from catchers.
Salvador
typically.
Perez over Jonah Heim, though.
Sal Perez was the one that really kind of made me go, really? He was better than Heim?
Yeah.
I just don't see it, but okay. Look, Heim won the Gold Glove. We'll deal with it.
I think it's Adley's reward, though.
And then the DH, yeah, I'd probably, it should probably be Rutschman, I'd imagine.
Yeah, so it's Adley. Yeah.
Jordan Shohei,
Is it weird that it's closer than it should be?
it probably will be Jordan because this is pure hitting.
Really?
This is pure hitting. I would pick Jordan.
I'm picking Otani, but
We'll see.
I think Jordan has a great shot.
And then utility is Drury, Henderson, Paredes, and Merrifield. This will probably be Gunner because they love the Orioles, but sure. And then, National League, we got Alonso, Freeman, Olsen.
I think it's got to be Matt Olson. I think it's going to be Matt Olson.
I
I
mean,
mean, if you have, 50,
I mean,
54 home runs?
Freeman is a finals for the MVP, but
Well, of course.
that also counts defense. This is pure hitting. I mean, Freeman hit 331 with 29 home runs. I mean, yes, 54 is a lot. 389 OBP.
What was what, 281 average, 283 average?
It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah.
It'll be there is no right answer between those two, and then poor P. Alonso is just kind of there.
Polar Bear's a monster, but not compared to those guys.
Albies, Arise, Marte. If it's not Luis Arise, I riot. That personally, I just think he was the best.
I mean, take away if you look at power.
I mean, you hit 354. I think you should be the best hitter. I'm sorry, I know batting averages and everything, but what did Albies hit? Albies hit 280. That's great.
But then you look at 33 home runs and 109.
That's great. That's wonderful for you. And Marte, fine hitter, had a tear in the postseason, hit 276, 25 home runs, but 354. There reaches a point. To me, anything 350 and above, that's outstanding. I don't care if you're a nerd or not. That's outstanding. Third base, Arenado, Machado, Muncy, Riley. Probably going to be Riley.
Riley, yeah.
Shortstop, don't know how Bogarts got on there. Lindor, Swanson, Turner, probably going to be Lindor. Either him or Swanson.
I wish Trey was as dominant as he was the whole year.
Or as he was in the WBC.
Yeah.
I mean, Lindor, 31 homers, hit 254. It'll probably be Lindor. Looking at Swanson's numbers, it'll probably be Frankie. Outfield, Acuna, Betts, Bellinger, Carroll, Schwarber, Soto, Suzuki. Acuna, Betts,
and
Bellinger. Hit 300. I love Corbin Carroll, but no.
Yeah.
Catcher,
you got to take away the average from Kyle
Yeah.
Schwarber. That's the unfortunate part for him.
Catcher, William Contreras, Sean Murphy, JT Realmuto, Will Smith. Probably going to be...
I don't think Sean Murphy.
You don't think Sean Murphy?
I don't think so.
I could see Realmuto. I'm getting all the numbers up, so it's taking a second. Nope, that's the wrong player. We already got him. And then Will Smith. Haha. Murphy, good season. No, we're going to eliminate you. Realmuto, I mean, he's up there. Contreras had the batting average, has some pop.
It's tough.
I'm going to give it to Realmuto, but that's just me.
I don't really have a say. I'll go with you.
DH, Harper, Martinez, Ozuna, Soler.
JD Martinez.
You gonna go JD?
Yeah.
It's either him or Harper. Well, it's one of the two guys. Utility, Bellinger, Betts, Kim, Steer. This is the thing about utility is like Betts could win it for the outfield and for the utility. He could be a two-time. He could be two silvers.
I would just give it to
I mean,
Bellinger.
I'd actually rather give it to Kim or Steer because of trying to give it to somebody else. I mean, Kim. I mean, they're not going to win it, but you like them to win it
Right.
because you don't want some guy to win it twice. But Steer has an argument. But that's your Silver Slugger Awards. Okay, baseball took a little while there, and
I don't
now,
think. I mean, this was our first episode after the World
after the World
Series.
Series, so it was going to be a little bit longer. So we're gonna here we go. Dallas Stars, they look good. We're gonna. I hate to kind of just flip it on everybody here, but kind of Stars. A little bit slow start to the month of November, but I think they'll get back on track.
Yeah, I mean, a 2-game losing streak, but versus good teams, a good Canucks team, obviously a great Bruins team.
Yeah.
Some close losses. Some games that they could have won.
And we got Columbus tomorrow night,
Yep.
6:30. So hopefully I can get back on track.
Is
Mavs,
that here in Columbus?
that's in Columbus.
Okay.
Yeah, 3 straight away games coming up: Columbus, Winnipeg, Minnesota. They go back up to face the Wild.
All right.
Mavs have played really well. 6-1. The one loss being in the tournament game.
And
It's
to
funny.
the best team.
Into the best team, into the Nuggets. And Tim Hardaway's playing like 6th man of the year. Lively is just the best. I think he's probably been the most productive draft pick so far. I love Wemby from a floor standpoint.
Maybe for team needs.
Team needs.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean it's tough. He's gonna be a candidate for Rookie of the Year
Well, of
at
course.
this point right now.
I mean, I think it's Wemby's award.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, Lively. If you're talking about just pure team needs and just pure defensive presence,
It's Lively.
I mean, for just a team that needed it, yeah, for sure. Mavs needed that. We needed that guy to really be that anchor,
Right.
and he's providing that.
We got the Raptors tonight in Dallas. That should be a win right there. They're 3-4. So hopefully we can keep this going.
Yeah, I mean,
keep up the hot start.
It's never a guaranteed win when it comes to this Mavs team.
We're
But
playing kind of like the first half of the game, very blah. Then we just second half we just figure it out.
I'll tell you though, Scotty Barnes has looked unbelievable for Toronto. He has been unbelievable. He's clearly a candidate for most improved player.
How would you grade Jason Kidd's coaching so far?
Fine. I think fine. I mean, I think the 9-man rotation that we have going on right now is fine. I think there's guys that deserve a lot less minutes, and there's guys that deserve more minutes. But listen, we're 6-1. You can't really complain.
Because I know that he was the big complaint from Mavs fans last year, and I
Sure.
was just curious how you would grade.
Sure.
his
I mean,
coaching
he
so
comes in.
far.
His first year we go to the Western Conference Finals. You have a down year, you'd miss the playoffs. You get a top 10 pick. You don't really know how to judge
Right.
things
This is
based
kind
off
of like
of 2 completely different seasons.
this year's
And
kind
this
of
year's
a-
kind of just like, okay, well, he had 1 winning year, he had 1 losing year. Now it's kind of like, okay, how do you build off from last year? How do you get back on track to winning games and being successful? And I think he's taken that initiative to really step up and look better. And I think he has. I mean, and I think the record's proving it, 6-1.
All right. Hopefully we can keep this up against the Raptors. So
Yeah.
And we got to get to football. Fun football.
Yeah.
Last week, I need to really start. I need to get a winning streak going here because I'm struggling. I'm on the struggle bus.
I'm clapping. I'm clapping right now
yeah. At
because
least we don't have
he'll
money.
explain.
Yeah. So week 9, Titans and Steelers both got burned on that one. Steelers got that one. Cowboys and Eagles we will talk about last, so I'm going to move that one last. Both got burned, obviously. Dolphins at Chiefs. He won. I lost because I went against the Chiefs. Should never do that. Seahawks at Ravens. I got burned again. He was right. Here we go. It's going to be a common theme in this one.
this Baltimore team.
Cardinals at Browns. I went the Browns. Thankfully, I was good there. I got my first win. So did he. Texans. I'm telling you, man, this Texans team. I'm becoming a truther. I'm becoming a truther of this Texans team, and they beat the Bucks. It was a good
And
game.
a CJ Stroud masterclass, 470 yards, 5 touchdowns.
Stroud is he's the dude right now.
Panthers looking a little.
I wanted to bring up a point. Is Stroud an MVP candidate right
Yeah.
now? I mean,
Yeah.
he's got to be. I mean, I love Mahomes, But the
No.
MVP is not the most talented player; it's the most valuable player.
I was literally talking about
he's-
this with my friends right now, and there was a little bit of bias, and there wasn't bias in it. I said, why should Dak not be an MVP candidate right now? There's not really a quarterback out there that has been, oh yeah, this is the guy. He's 100% the MVP. There hasn't been that this year. Mahomes with over 10 interceptions already. Josh Allen's been, with a lot of interceptions.
Burrow's been injured.
Burrow's been injured, hasn't really been himself in the last few weeks he's been.
I tell you what's weird is that I really wish Micah could have had have more sacks, because this would be his year to win an MVP
I
award.
think that Christian McCaffrey or Tyreek Hill are the front runners right now for MVP. I really think this is the year that I feel like it's not a quarterback award.
We will see.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to come on. There's still a most of the season. There's still
Oh,
what,
of course,
about
yeah,
half a year to go.
half a season left, but as of right now is what I'm saying.
Right. Bears at Saints. Thankfully, I did not go with the Bears on this one. We both with the Saints. Check mark there. Falcons at Vikings. The dang Falcons. Just come on, man. I need something here, and they couldn't do it.
Oh, what did I pick?
But Vikings. Congrats on the Josh Dobbs though. That Josh Dobbs is.
I love Josh Dobbs. I think he's a fantastic quarterback.
Hope that man gets a real chance to
Yeah.
quarterback somewhere next year. Maybe this is his chance right now. We'll see. I mean, it's a good Vikings team still.
Yeah, I mean Kirk Cousins. We don't know his status
never
for
know.
next year.
Rams at Packers. I went Packers. Check mark there. We're good. Commanders at Patriots. We both got burned on that one. Patriots are just. I don't know how to. It's bad.
Yeah.
Sorry,
really
New
bad.
England fans. It's bad. Colts at Panthers. We both went to Panthers. At least we both got burned on that one. Giants at Raiders. I went the Giants. Please. I like this Raiders coach though. I really like this. This Raiders coach. He sounds like a head
Did you
coach.
see the locker room environment after the
The
game?
locker room. And I think the biggest one for me was him. I don't know if you know this. The practice squad players got sideline passes, or they got to be in uniform. Or they got to do something. Someone was like, "Why'd you do that?" And he said, "They bust their tail for us every week. Why shouldn't they get some kind of reward? And plus, I want them to see what it's like. I want them to feel like they're more a part of it. So that way, it motivates them to work harder."
He's just a
get
coach
that
that
roster
really
spot.
cares about that team.
I like that, and I think he could. I really think right now, if I was the Raiders, if they finish out like I think they could with this coach, they got some talent on that team.
Yeah, they do.
It's not the year's not dead. They committed the cardinal sin of hiring a head coach and hired Josh McDaniels.
Yeah.
Bills at Bengals. We both went to Bengals, and we both were correct there. Chargers at Jets. Chargers just killed the Jets, and Rodgers looks like he's
It's unbelievable.
Rodgers. I don't know how to put it, but now to the Cowboys and Eagles.
Nice. I like how I got everyone right, and you never got when I got one wrong, you never got one right. I like that. I think we should keep it that way.
Yeah. Keep talking. We'll see. We still got a good part of the year to go. That Cowboys Eagles game was just. I'm trying to. I may have to say a couple times here that the Rangers are World Series champions just to keep myself happy, because I was pissed, and I think I was a lot of Rangers. And look, I'm gonna make it sound so almost comical. As a former player, as someone who has played football, and I think anyone who's played football or any really in team sports, you never want to blame the refs, because even though the refs can be awful, just awful, it is very difficult to say if the refs do their job, we win this game no matter what else we do. Because in any game, I don't care how perfect you played it, you still had things you did wrong every single game. It does not matter. It's one of the things that have always made Bill Belichick such a good coach in New England was he would always single out the bad plays. Even they could have won 40-0, and in the first film, the first play that he's going to play in the team room is going to be the one where everyone screwed up. That's just and I like that philosophy, because there's always room to get better. There's no such thing as a perfect game. There's always even from a quarterback, you complete 30 of 30 passes. I guarantee you there was a read you missed or touchdown you missed or something like that, right? Always. But the refs, it really felt like we got screwed.
Yeah.
It's one of the few games where I came out of it going, if the refs had properly done their job, we would have won this football game. And I don't say that often. It's the first time I've said it this year. I think I've said on a lot of the games, if the refs had done their job, it would have been closer, or it would have been better, or I was pissed at the refs. But in this one, it truly affected the outcome, in my opinion.
And if you didn't see the game and that result, and I showed you the stat lines of each player for each team,
You think the Cowboys won?
you think the Cowboys will won by 10 plus?
Schoonmaker's touchdown. That was a touchdown. It wasn't really a touch. I mean, it was
No,
close.
he was short.
He was short, but it was pass interference. It was clear. Oh, sorry. It was a 2-point conversion.
Yeah.
Or no, what was a touchdown? Wasn't it?
No, that was the
That
fourth
was-
down. That was the fourth down.
That was the 4th down.
You were talking about when Dak stepped out of bounds on the 2-point conversion.
Dak was a 2-point conversion, and that everyone was like, "Oh man, Dak gotta have better awareness." Okay, let me ask you a question. If he's one step to his left, he's getting tackled. From what I remember, I haven't been able to watch the film yet. But if he's one step to his left, he's getting tackled. There is no more room for him. He's screwed. There's nothing he can do. I don't blame Dak for that. Now, if he had done it and there was no one around, that's different. That's you being making a bonehead move.
Right.
This is not. This is him trying to avoid it and just happen to be a couple inches over. The Schoonmaker play, the Gilmore one.
Yeah, it was just,
I leapt out of my seat, and if I hadn't been my grandparents, there would have probably been 30 F-bombs said. I mean, it was awful.
terrible
How do you call pass interference?
pass interference call. Yeah.
I don't get that. The missed call holding on Micah. Look, I love Jason Kelsey. I can't stand him. I hope he loses. I hope that he loses every game for his career. I hope he gets pummeled. I don't want him to lose his career. I don't want a man to lose his ability to earn money for his family. But I hope he feels pain. I hate him because he's such a likable guy, but he's so into the whole Philly thing that it pisses me off. And I want to grab some pads and go hit him. Like I know I was an offensive lineman, but I want to become a defensive lineman just to go one-on-one against him. Pisses me off because I guarantee you, if you ask him, well, it wasn't holding. I was just doing. No, that was. You had him by a shoulder blade. That's holding. That's awful. And then they called holding on Schoonmaker on a big run. That's not holding. If you have a guy, and unfortunately this is part of the thing. I wish we had a camera, and I wish I could show everybody. Chase can see what I'm doing. If you have a guy in between his tit and pit, right here, right from his armpit, you have him right there, and he's in your body frame. That is what you're taught. That is what we are taught from high school up, inside the armpit, right? By the what men call their pectoral, right there. You get him right there, and if you keep him within your body frame, because where the holding comes in is even if your hands are there, if they move to your left or right and you don't move, so then this happens, right? And they go across, now that's holding. But if you move with them and they're within your frame, that's never a holding call. Okay, yes, he's grabbing his pads. That's why it looks like they're moving. And then they're going to say that he threw him. That's called a pancake. We're taught to put them on the ground and, celebrate. That's a great play. And they called holding on it. As someone who was taught how to block properly, it really pissed me off. Because I'm like, that's wrong. That's what you're taught to do. If it was something where you're just trying to do something extra and get called for it, that's different. He did what he was taught, and you still called it on him. The Eagles are possibly the worst 8-1 team I have ever seen in my life. They are not a good 8-1 team. They're about where we are. Our records should be flipped, with our one loss probably being to San Francisco instead of the Niners and the Eagles and
the Cardinals.
Losing to San Francisco, that was fine. We got our teeth kicked in. That's different. The Cardinals should have had it. This one was you got screwed. And then there was early in the game, Jalen Hurts, the first tush push. He was short by like 3 yards, meaning they probably don't do a tush push. They probably punt it.
Yeah, exactly.
Now that was more on McCarthy for not challenging, and McCarthy made mistakes because you had it, chance to win late in the game on the +6 on your 6, or their 6, and you run a quarterback draw. McCarthy's play calling late was bad. Now I like the fake spike. It was just. It felt like everything compounded. It was bad.
This was just a game where I was upset. I wasn't as upset as I was for previous losses. Like, this is a game where I was like, well, we lost because of the refs.
This is
not because the Cowboys played bad.
Yeah.
The Cowboys and
Steele played bad.
Steele played bad.
Steele was getting worked by Hassan Reddick, but you can work on that.
Dak was phenomenal.
Dak outplayed Hurts.
CD was phenomenal. The defense was good. It's a game you should win.
That was what pissed me off was that should be a win in our column, and yet it's not. The Eagles have found a way to squeak by all of their wins this year. I don't think they've really won anything was a blowout.
No, they have not.
They barely beat the Patriots, and I don't want to say they're getting bailed out by the rest, but every game I seem to watch, Remember the one last week? I think it was against the Dolphins, right?
The Commanders last week.
And no. Or the one against the Dolphins.
Oh.
Remember? I think it was Darius Slay or Bradbury grabbed the Dolphins receiver by his face mask, and nothing. Nothing. It was Tyreek Hill, Waddle. It was somebody, and nothing. Not hands to the face. The one on Gallup, that's hands to the face, and you picked it up. You saw it, and so and I don't like being a conspiracy theorist, but you can't watch that game and not help but think, is there something going on? I'm not trying to make an excuse for the Cowboys and say that the league is corrupt, but yet you have to think. It has to cross your mind at some point during that game that the refs have been told to not call as much on the Eagles and call more on us, or on other teams. This is not just our games. Other games,
Right.
They've gotten this.
We were just
stuff.
having to watch this game.
How many holding calls were not called on them? A lot. And of course, the Eagles players are playing, blind man. Oh, I don't know. We're not doing it. Yeah, you are. And Nick Sirianni has such a punchable face.
Yeah.
I would love to just give him a right hook.
I like how all Cowboys fans think the exact same way.
But you know what? I love him as their coach because it makes him so much more. It just adds more hatred. You know, it was hard to hate. I couldn't hate Dusty Baker, but I could hate Nick Sirianni. You know what I mean? It's that thing. I didn't really hate Doug Peterson. I hate Nick Sirianni. I want like Micah Parsons to run full speed, miss a tackle, and hit him. Anyway.
Miss a tackle.
Anyway, moving to week 10, we have a dynamite Thursday matchup in the Panthers and the Bears.
And this Fields was ruled out, so it's Tyson Bagent again. And listen, just to help each other out, whoever you go with, I'll go with the other one.
I don't know who to go with because, like, I could see.
I'll help you out.
Because I could see the Panthers being bad and the Bears being good. Because there have been games where the Panthers have been bad, and there's been games where they've been good. And there's games where the Bears have been good and they've been bad. So it's which team shows up is the key. I am going to pick the Bears, but that is me.
That's good because I am going
You
to take
want
the Panthers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Giants at Cowboys. I swear, if this is not a route, I'm going to.
Listen,
riot.
it was the same way when going into week 3. I'm take care of business. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going Cowboys though.
Take care of business. You sure you don't want to go Giants to differ from me?
I'm going Cowboys.
Colts at Patriots. I almost want to go New England just because it's Bill against the Colts, and there's that that hatred there, for the Colts.
I'll go first. I'll take the Patriots.
But you're really gonna take New England?
Yeah, I am.
I'm gonna take the Colts. Or we'll see. Hopefully, this is the week where I can catch up. I swear, if the Patriots just, I'm gonna be so pissed. Texans at Bengals. I want to say the Texans. I do. I could see them walking in there and winning a game. Like, it just feels like
They got that swagger now, but going into Cincinnati, who they're finally, well, I wouldn't say fully healthy yet because, Jamar Chase is questionable.
I'm going to pick the Bengals.
As of right now, I'm going to take the Bengals as well. Yes.
All right. Packers at Steelers, an old Super Bowl matchup here. An interesting one. I'm going to pick the Packers on the road, but that is me.
I'm going Steelers.
You want Steelers? All right. Titans, Buccaneers. I'm gonna go Will Levis. He's played really well. I'm gonna go Levis. They named him the full starter. I think he's got that team. I'm going Levis.
I'm going Buccaneers.
You don't have to differ.
No,
from
I'm
me.
going Buccaneers.
Okay.
I mean, they lost to a Texans team while still putting up 33, 36 points.
All right.
The offense is clearly there.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't it the Browns that beat the Ravens earlier in the year? Didn't the Browns just destroy them? If I'm not mistaken.
I know the Steelers beat them, right?
Or
the Steelers won a bad. I don't remember if they've played yet.
Or am I wrong there? Sorry, everybody. We're checking because I could have sworn it was like week 2, and the Ravens just got killed. Maybe I'm probably wrong. But
Schedule. No, the Colts beat the Ravens by 3 in overtime, and then the Steelers won by 7. They have not played. Or no, sorry. The Ravens killed the Browns.
When? Week 4?
Yeah, won 28-3.
Oh, that's right. It was the Ravens. I remember it was a game where one of them got killed.
And now they're home.
So you got to think that the Browns are pissed from that. But I can't rule against the Ravens.
I'm not betting against the Ravens right now. I'm going Baltimore.
Me neither. I'm with you on that one. At least we'll be both wrong. Niners or the Jaguars? I mean, the Niners have just falling off a cliff. The Jaguars are on the rise, but I think the Niners get things done here.
Yeah, they got coming off their bye week. I think Deebo Samuel is back now.
I think they get things done.
Yeah, give me the Niners.
Saints at Vikings. I'm going to go with the Vikings. At home, Josh Dobbs. I'm riding the Cinderella story here. Go with what you want, dude. You're
No,
good.
I know. It's tough to think. I don't think Jefferson's going to be back. I'm going to go with the Saints.
All right. Falcons at Cardinals. Murray's back. I think that's going to work against them. I'm going to go Falcons.
Yeah, I'm going Falcons.
Lions at Chargers. Give me the Lions. Give me them bite them kneecaps off.
That's a tough one there. That's a tough one. But Lions coming off their bye. Give me the Lions.
Commanders at Seahawks. Give me the Hawks. Pretty easy pick there. You can go with the
I'll go Seahawks.
Seahawks. All right. Jets at Raiders. I'm going Raiders, man. I really think this coach, he's figured something out. I'm going to go with Raiders.
Yeah, I mean, I just can't bet on Zach Wilson
All right.
to throw 5 total yards the whole game. So I'm going with Raiders.
A bad Monday Night Football matchup. I mean, the Broncos beat the Chiefs, but I think that was a lot of just we need to beat this one team. I'm going Bills.
Yeah, I'm going Bills.
So hopefully the Cowboys can take care of business. Hopefully we don't, and the Eagles are on bye this week. So they can't lose. Hey, look, the refs can't help them out. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to remind you that the Texas Rangers are your World Series champions. We have to make sure to remind everybody of that. Thank you so much for listening. I know that I had a lot of people waiting on this episode because it was the World Series and they want to hear what I had to say. So, it's been a great episode. We will talk to you guys next week about everything. And again, baseball, still the off season. Eventually the Hall of Fame stuff. So we'll get into all that. But see you guys next week.
See you later.